Hey everybody, how's it going? How are you doing today on this great Sunday?
Hey y'all, welcome back.
I was about to say that's all you got is hey y'all,
That was
hey
my
y'all.
I'm being, cute and you know.
Man,
Hey.
we ain't got no time to be cute.
Ah. Welcome to the podcast, y'all. Welcome back, family.
Welcome back to another episode. I want to say episode 12. I think I actually stopped counting. I think it's 12 though. Of the His Voice, Her Vibe podcast live. I am your co-host, Norris Henderson.
And I am Lisa Henderson.
And we are excited about another podcast, another episode, just to be able to talk to you all and to dialogue and have a good time. I'm excited today because we're actually going to be giving you guys a a book to look at by someone that we happen to meet on another friends of ours podcast. Actually, he's somewhat like my big brother,
Yes,
Elder
ma'am.
Stephen Massey, with his Hey Friend podcast. We met this young lady, and we
Yes.
we want to shout her out first and
Yes.
foremost.
Shout out to Miss Pamela Porter. She wrote a book. It's called Smile Through It All. And we will be actually joining her as well as the Hey Friend podcast coming up in a few weeks. I think the second Thursday in May. It's either the first Thursday or the second Thursday, but we'll keep you posted on that. But please, if you have a moment, smile through it all. Pamela Porter, look her up on Facebook, order the book, support her. Black business, black woman. She has a story and it's an amazing read.
I was going to say that she has an amazing story, and we got a chance to hear a little bit of it on that podcast. And I'll tell you what, sometimes we think that we're the only people that go through things, especially when we're in the middle of going through whatever it is that we're going through. But there are
Mhm.
some people that I declare that have gone through much worse, and they're able to survive it and do exactly what she said, smile your way through it. So we're excited to bring that book to you guys and to talk to her and to be a guest on that podcast in the coming weeks. But we're also excited about a new segment that we're getting ready to incorporate starting today on the His Voice Her Vibe podcast. I call it Say You, Say We, which is actually a question segment where we take the questions of the audience that they have sent to us through messenger, email, or whatever. We talk to you guys about the questions that they ask us, when we dialogue and give you answers and everything like that. So really excited about that today.
Absolutely.
But today,
Hold on. Without further ado, we
oh,
just want to make
go
sure that
ahead.
we give you our disclaimer stating the facts that we are not your therapist, not your clinician, not your doctor. We are merely here to invoke conversation for you to come in, join us in conversation, give us your feedback, you give us some, have a good conversation as adults. So we do not give out medical advice nor clinical or psychological advice. We are just two people sitting here having a conversation. And if you should need help, please seek your local clinician, doctor, and if you have a medical emergency, please call 911.
Absolutely, positively. So today we are going to continue in the Us Unfiltered series that we've started, and I want to thank all of you because for whatever reason, this particular series has been a series where we have gotten a lot of feedback. I've gotten emails and text messages and messenger messages of just different things that we've talked about on last week's podcast, and some of the clippets that are snippets, I'm sorry, that we had put out just from that podcast. And there was an amazing, just
Great response.
yes, that's the word I'm looking for, to those things. And so we appreciate you all, and we're going to continue on in this series. Today we're going to talk about love languages and making it real, because a lot of people run around with this love language thing. And I mean, if we're being honest, some people have just made things love languages that aren't even necessarily typically love language.
Which I think
Jeez.
that is okay.
I
I
think
think
it's
because
all
we're
right.
all individuals, right?
I think
We
it's all
all have a
right.
different perspective on what love languages are or what makes us feel loved or how we want love displayed for us. So
I
I think it's cool.
I
It
think
may
it's
not be
cool.
those that are, familiarly put out in the atmosphere, but hey, it
I
is a
understand
thing.
that. It is a thing. It is a thing. And so distinctly there are 5 love languages, but then there are some that will say that there's 7. But according to the person that actually developed these love languages, Dr. Gary Chapman, he says that the love languages are there 5 are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And so we're gonna dive into that today. I think we'll talk about ourselves like we normally do, and bring you again, just giving you a little bit of the tea, of who we are,
Nah.
and in our world, and kind of what we do, and the things that we think about, and we'll go from there. So I guess without further ado, we can get
So what's
into
your
it.
love language? Well, hold on.
All right.
How did you figure out what do you think my love
Oh
language is?
Lord.
Let's go there. What do you think my love language is, and what makes you think that's what it
I would say words of affirmation right off the top.
is? Okay.
And I would say that because you always ask me, "Hey, babe, how do you like this? How do you like that?" And I think it's just a way from me when you ask me that to tell you, "Well, hey, babe, I think your hair is pretty. Hey, babe, I really like that outfit. Hey, babe," whatever it may be. And so I think words of affirmation is one. Um, I would also say, I think this said, like, eh, acts of service, eh.
So what is an act of service?
So an
Like
act of
what does that
service,
look like?
an act of service basically demonstrates love by doing things for the other person that they would appreciate, such as
Okay.
cooking a meal, doing chores, or running errands. And so that's what an act of service is. And those are some crazy examples concerning us.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just stuff that we do.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I this says receiving gifts, but I honestly think that you like to give gifts. I think you like to receive them,
But I'm a giver.
but you are a giver. And so I would think that probably predominantly the 2 would be the words of affirmation and then, the gifts. I would say that.
And what was the other one? Acts of service and what else?
Acts of service, then you have physical touch and quality time. What you looking at me for?
And you think gifts go before quality time?
I didn't say it goes before it.
Well, that's the 2 you named.
I don't you be well, let me
You was
say
getting ready to
this.
say, "I be
Hold on.
moody."
No.
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
You know, well, you do kinda be moody sometimes. But when we
The
were at
nerve.
home, let's be honest, when we were at home and
At
we
home meaning
both
in
in
Wichita?
Wichita, and we were engaged in all of the things that we were doing, I don't wanna say that quality time wasn't something that we prioritized because it was, but we didn't have a lot of it,
Yeah,
in terms of ourselves. We
I
spent a
would say
lot of
that.
time, um, at games, doing whatever we did. Everything was with the kids.
Somebody tell my
So
child we on the podcast. He does
but
this
we
every
are on the
time.
podcast, bro. But we were always in the midst of doing something. If it wasn't fashionetta, it was a game, a basketball game or a volleyball game or, track and field or watching them dance, So we had a lot of time where we spent our time, what we would, use for quality time in terms of like maybe going out on date nights and different things like that.
'Cause Friday night was our date night.
You know,
That
fri
that
and it was
outside
at
of
a and it
basketball.
was at a basketball game
Yeah,
most of the time. So, we didn't really have a lot of time to build in
okay,
that
so I could
regard
see that. I could see it
then.
changing.
Yeah,
So,
then.
I could see that being, a way. I could see that.
But now we're more intentional on trying to do that. I think we have gotten to a point to where we we go out. We like to go out and we like to go eat and do different things like that. But I think that we're also perfectly okay, depending on the day, with sitting at home, drinking a glass of wine or whatever, watching a movie, binge watching some crazy story that somebody done told you, "Hey, you need to watch," and then I done got reeled in or something like
And you
that.
enjoy
But
them.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing because, again, we get to spend the time together doing the things that we do and really enjoying each other and learning more about each other. And I think that's the thing because marriage is progressive, and I don't believe that people understand that. It's progressive. The longer that you're with somebody, the older that they get, they're going to change. And so you have to learn to adapt and pick and roll and move with how things change in that person. And so, with that being said, there could be a possibility where at one point, words of affirmation may have been the thing that you really enjoyed for a season, but that has changed now. Now it's more quality time as opposed to words of affirmation. I need you to be in my space more. I need you to be near me more. We need to be together more as opposed to hearing me, "Well, hey, babe, your hair is nice." And there's nothing wrong with that.
And most of the time, you don't even do that. I have to say, "You like my hair? It's okay.
Wow. Wow.
It's alright. It's cute." But
What?
I had to ask you.
What?
Every now and then, you be like, "Girl, where you going? Mm." And you say something else I'm not gonna say on the podcast
Why not? We grown.
because
What?
but
Man, please.
I have to ask you, and then when I ask you, I have to pull it
Hold on.
all out of
Nah,
you.
hold on. The
"Babe, is this too tight? What this look like?"
these men on this podcast, just like me, look at the booties of they women just like I do. So ain't no sense to sit around acting like this doesn't happen. It
I'm
happens.
just saying.
So I'm gonna
Sometimes
look,
you're
I'ma
not
smack it. I'ma do that. What? We are grown.
sometimes you don't specify because, I'm a very detailed person. When you say, "Yes, you like it," I want you to tell me why you like it.
And that's the thing.
And then you be like,
That
"Here we
right there.
go.
That right
Here we
there.
go." Well, I
That
want you to
right
tell me
there.
what you like about it. It's easy just to say, "Yeah, I like it." Well, what do you like about it?
She wants a whole dissertation on why I like whatever it is that she's asking me about. Like when she came in the other day and her hair was done, and I saw it, I was like,
You
"Oh
said that
shoot,
like my
babe."
hair ain't never done.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Anybody that has seen this podcast or seen us out, as long as we've been together and prior to, know that your hair is always done. Come on now. But when she came in, I seen the braids and I was like, "Yo, that looks really, really, really good on you."
Mhm.
Nobody had to prompt me. Nobody had to say, "Hey, yeah, so nah, I'm gonna shut that down." Nobody had to do that. I seen it
One time.
this morning once. I seen it and was like, "Hey, you know what? That really, really looks good on you. I really like that." You know what I mean? And I really do. I think that that is a pretty style on her. I really do. And so, therefore, I say so.
Oh, you give one day's credit.
And that's what
Okay.
it
So you
is.
said words of affirmation.
Words of
You believe that
affirmation.
words of affirmation and gifts
I think those two.
for me?
Well, and I can't say now quality time. I can't say that now.
Okay.
I can't say that now.
Okay.
So what about me? Why you doing all this talking?
You know, I am so well-rounded and
Oh
great at
my
all these
lord.
things
Oh my lord.
to where,
Are you serious right now?
I mean, I'm good at all of them. So, I really think now let me be what was the one about touch or whatever? I
Physical
think for
touch.
you, it's physical touch, not sexually, so to speak, but I think physical touch, and I think you enjoy receiving gifts because 'cause I'm kinda impromptu on things, and so I think that and we both do a very good job at,
Mhm.
when people think of, getting gifts or buying somebody something, a lot of times you think, "Oh, it's a new ring," or, "Oh, it's a car," or "It's a house," or some diamond earrings, something that is of a great financial magnitude,
Mhm.
and I think what I love about probably the both of us is it's the little things.
Yes.
So, for instance, I fell in love. I got turned on to UFOs or however you say it, UFOs.
Yeah, these shoes.
So I love UFOs flip-flops.
Right.
So because I love them and I think they're very comfortable, I bought you some because I want your feet to be comfortable too. Now
Absolutely.
for some that may not be what they want their spouse or significant other to get them, but I think that you enjoy the thoughtfulness behind it all.
I can agree
And
with
I
that.
think that you enjoy that I encourage you to do more for yourself
Mhm.
and to spend more on yourself because you can be very cheap sometimes and tell
Frugal.
me
I'm
real quick,
frugal.
I'm not spending that kind of money.
What?
And then when I go spend that kind of money, you like, why did you spend that kind of money? Well, because I want you to have what I want you to have.
Right.
So I think that you weren't used to being given things.
I can agree.
And so I think that that is one of the ways that I am able to show you that I love you is providing experiences and opportunity for you to feel special. So I really don't know where that fits in, but early on in our relationship I picked up on that you hadn't been celebrated a lot.
Wow.
And
Now
so
that's true.
I know that celebrating you shows that you are loved. And so I really enjoy doing that for you, and I know that that means a lot to you. So I think I don't know where that falls in those 5 love languages or whatever, but I know
I don't
that,
know.
that is your love language. You like to be celebrated.
Um, you know, I don't know. Um, I think it's a type of affirmation.
Yeah, because it I think so too. I think it probably is an expression of an affirmation that you are important, you are
Right.
valued, you're being thought of. You're not always in a position to think about other people,
Mhm.
but other people actually think about you and we actually think you're special and we
Right.
actually think you're cool. And so we go above and beyond to do these things for you, which made me think of I can remember when we your first birthday at the
My
house with
48th, I
us
remember.
with me and the kids, and we had a cake, and it had wrestling on it,
Yep.
and you were just it almost looked like you wanted to cry. It was like a kid on Christmas, and you just could not believe that all this for me, and you just kept opening your gifts, all this for me, and I was sitting there like, "This is a grown man and with a five-year-old's personality coming out like, all this for me." And so,
That's
I
crazy.
think that, you appreciate being celebrated
Absolutely.
and you appreciate being acknowledged. And I know that there's a part of because I know you well, and I know that
Mhm.
there's a part of you that has a need to, I won't even know if it's a need, but a desire to
Mhm.
want to feel important, to want to be acknowledged, to know that you are the man. And baby, you are the man. You ain't to nobody else, you are to me.
Y'all heard it first right
So
here.
that's what I believe his affirmation is. I didn't put it in the 5, but that is what as a wife, I know my husband
Yeah.
needs, and that's what tells him
I
that I love him.
I definitely think that is a part of words of affirmation, and the reason that I say that is because even though, I get gifts and different things and the cake and different things like that, it was more so simple stuff like, "Hey, happy birthday, babe," you know, "You made it to 48," and for somebody and she's telling the truth, if we're being honest, because that's where my mind went to immediately,
I will
that
never forget
that
and I
that,
am not good about remembering things, but I will never forget that.
I can remember coming home from work. I was coming in from work. I came in from work, 48th birthday, big, good sized cake with, of course, all of the wrestling figures on it because anybody that really knows Norris knows I love wrestling. I always have ever since I was little. So I had a wrestling cake, I had gifts, and she's
Mhm.
right. I mean, it took a lot in me not, wanting to be the man boohoo crying over cakes, and, uh and just, the celebration and um, the acknowledgement. That is the word, the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get that. I didn't get a lot of that. I didn't get a lot of that. I mean, growing up, even into my young adult years and different things like that. And even in terms of like what she was saying, with the buying of gifts and stuff, I would get myself things, but if I,
Like Chris I think your
you know,
first Christmas with us was another time, and you were just not you just were not used to that, and because you've married a giver, it I think initially kinda made you uncomfortable because
absolutely
you didn't know how to receive, and I think that you felt like you had to match what I was doing, which I that's not my person.
right.
I just do,
Which I didn't have a problem with. Don't get
and
me wrong.
and I
I didn't have no
And
problem
I
with that. Come
do,
on now.
I do. I do for you and I do for strangers, and I just do for people because that is a part of who I am. But I think that outside of words of affirmation or
Mhm.
affirming you, I think that, for both of us, it's probably a sense of touch. I
Absolutely,
think
physical
because
touch.
I've gone through certain things and you've gone through certain things to where rejection has played a part in some areas, and so I think that sometimes we just wanna sit next to each other on the couch
Yeah.
or, lay next to each other in the bed when it's time to go to sleep, like, that's a whole thing. It doesn't work long
No.
because I'm gonna be sweating and please get on your side of the bed.
Right.
Yeah, when we moved here, we tried to make it with our little, was it full size?
No, so I had a queen size bed that I
Lord.
had in my apartment that when we decided that, when we moved in together, once we got married, I let our son use. And I mean, good bed, nice, sturdy, great mattress. I mean, because he loved that bed. Oh my God, it's the most comfortable bed I've ever had. And we tried to move that bed here because the king size bed that we did have,
It was just too big, too
it
heavy.
was too
Time to do
big, too
something different.
heavy, and, we just had to do something different. I think it was like a California king. I
Yeah,
think
it
so
was
it was
ridiculous.
huge, and no, it was enough for us. So we tried to use that bed, and, that didn't last very long before I decided, "You know what? No, we need a king bed, so let me go ahead and buy us a a king bed." And that's what I did. I got us a king bed because it was just a no. That queen, no sir. No sir. But we're comfortable in what we have now. It's
So
nice.
so I think, you know, staying on topic because we go down tangents. I
Yeah.
think that, that is our love language. I think that, for me, I appreciated the fact that you picked up on it quick, that being, I guess, being affirmed or being,
Yes.
told, "Oh, I look good, I this, I that," that was an issue for me.
Yeah.
And so Norse knows the backside of that story, but I value that you do that. Or I value that I honestly can come in and say, "Babe, what you think about this?" And you'll say, that ain't gonna work. You need to go do something else." I value that. Or
I'm
it doesn't happen very often
right.
that you do that.
And I'm
But
not
but
rude when
I
I do it either.
no, but I value the fact that you notice. What I will say is he notices everything. If I do something different and I say what I do different and I'm just standing in front of him, he's gonna notice. I would say within 2 tries, you usually notice.
Typically.
You usually notice. So you're very attentive, for lack of better terms. I think that shows me that that's another way that I know you love me
Right.
or that I feel that you love me. You make me feel loved is because you're very attentive. You're very attentive.
That's good. That's good. So, yes. Y'all heard it here. Y'all already know
Down to my
anyway.
toothpaste, y'all.
Oh, man.
There are just certain things I don't have to buy because he knows I'm specific, so when he's out, he does it.
Yeah, it's
Certain toilet
crazy.
tissue,
It's crazy.
certain toothpaste. What's something else I'm picky about that you'll grab while you out?
I don't know.
Who knows? But
I just know in
he's
the
very
moment.
attentive about certain things.
Right. I know in the moment. And so that's just kinda how that goes. Nichelle Williams, she says, "Lisa, you are an acts of service," basically type of person. You love to love on people and be there for them.
I do.
And I can honestly say that with my whole heart, sometime to a fault. If we just getting back, I mean, if we can being honest. And
Yeah.
that's another conversation that we have actually had where it's just like, baby, you doing too much. You know, I understand, but you kind of got to pull back a little bit, just a little.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard to do that
It is.
when you are so used to doing that, and that's what you find joy in, is doing for other people. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Michelle. I try. I try to love on everybody.
Armani says that's a Terrell thing, and I know what she's talking about. That's the physical touch.
I knew I was getting ready to say that nasty part,
That's a
Armani.
physical touch. That's a physical touch thing for real, for real. All of the Terrell family that's on here, yeah. Because Damien said something, but I'm not getting ready to put that comment.
Well, you may as well.
I'm not
It's
getting
in the
ready to do it. I'm
let
not
me
gonna do
see.
it. I'm not gonna do it.
What did you say about the
He said
king bed?
he said what I say. He said what I say about the king bed. I'm gonna let him tell you.
No.
I'm gonna let him tell you.
Anyway, so I do think that. I think that, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out when you learned it, because you weren't very good at giving comments. I
At
mean, you weren't
all.
very good at giving, yeah, you
No,
didn't.
that's real talk. In the beginning,
Mm-mm.
it was very hard for me to get into the mode of giving compliments and doing things like that
Yeah.
because the truth of the matter is I never
You
had to give them. And I know that's going to sound crazy from somebody that was married. And you know, at one point, it's not that I didn't give them, but it wasn't a situation where I don't even want to say that it was a prerequisite, but it wasn't something that was,
that they
hey,
needed.
but yeah, you know,
Okay.
they need it.
And
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 so
it varies
that's
per
kind of how
person,
that
but
was.
for me,
You needed that.
I needed that.
I mean, and
Now it's,
yeah,
almost 50, I'm good, but you still better be
yeah.
complimenting me when I walk in the room.
And given the situation, I mean, I understand, and that's something else that we talk about. You know, when we talk about love languages and making it real,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be able to understand your person to the point to where you get out of your comfort zone to be able to do what you need to do for them and making it real. We're laughing. I'm telling y'all, we're
Okay,
laughing.
so if we're gonna talk about like out of your comfort zone and stuff, so we will. I'm gonna make this as like appropriately, even though we all grown or whatever. So we'll talk about. We'll see something. This is simple. We'll see something on Facebook or something in one of these marriage groups, and it be something so wild. Like, okay, so this is real. This is a realistic situation. So I've been on a weight loss journey.
Right.
And so Norse is like, "That's it, babe. You've taken it too far. You've met your goal a couple of times, but you just keep on. So you need to stop losing weight." So I tell him, like, I'll see somebody on TV and the man is carrying the woman or whatever, and I'd be like, when you can carry me around the house like that, then I'll stop losing weight. Or just like the other day, we saw something on a show, and I'm just gonna say they were up against the wall.
Oh Lord.
Adults, just you can imagine. So they were up against the wall,
We
and I
PG.
was like, "Well, when you can do that, I'll stop losing weight." And so I just think that
No, no more
n-
way.
my reason in saying that is because I say that, but it would never happen because we are both too silly. Somebody would be
We
hurt
would
because we are too. We'd be
because we be
laughing
laughing.
because it's out of our norm. It's something out of the usual, and we enjoy the laughter amidst each other. And so I think that that's probably part of our love language as well, is that we can communicate on any level and find the joy and the laughter
Right.
and the silliness in whatever situation we may be
I
in.
can
I mean,
agree.
we know when to be serious, but
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. So I got a few comments that I need to get to. And this comes from this is Steve. You can flip all over that king bed. That's why I'm single. That's why I'm single. But y'all are good for it. And I'm not listening to Steve because he already knows what we believe are believing for him for. Yeah, he needs a
hey,
wife.
friend,
He needs a
mhm.
wife. Damian Standiford says, "Get a queen bed so you don't allow anyone or anything between you two." Brother, that's one thing that you ain't got to worry about, because not even the dog can get between us.
No.
That ain't get ready to happen. Even when we had our pit bull, I wouldn't even allow him in the bed, and he wanted to get in the
He
bed
would jump up there
bad.
sometime and knew
He
he
would,
was gonna
and
get in trouble.
he knew it. Ghost was 100 pounds.
But Kane can't get up there.
Kane can't get up there because Kane's
He's
too
too small.
short. But Ghost, he would jump his big self in the bed, and you get out this bed, and he would get on down, but he'd be looking sad and pitiful.
But just even speaking of that, like Norris has this thing when we get ready to go to bed. And so if he doesn't do it for a certain amount of days, then I'm like, what's your problem? And usually, I mean, it is what it is. It's rubbing my booty for whatever reason. I don't know what that comfort is.
This is my song for real.
Cut it
Oh, I'm
out.
sorry.
But like, we'll be cuddling or whatever, and that's just what he does, and I fall asleep.
Be gone
And
and
so
be
if he
not.
doesn't do it like a certain amount of days, I'll pick up on and be like, what's his problem? And he'd be like, what you talking about? I'm like, well, what's your problem? Because you didn't do this. And he'd be looking at me like, girl. So I don't even know that he recognizes that he does it, but I recognize when he doesn't do it. So when he doesn't do it, y'all know we pay attention to everything.
Right. That is true. I have to
So
agree.
I think that, the touch is a major thing, and I don't think I realized it until our marriage, how important touching your spouse or your mate, it really is.
Yes.
It is very important, and not just a sexual touch, because then it just becomes a part of the sex act, and it's only expected during sex. Just on a regular basis, like, we don't leave the house without kissing each other, or those are all also, in my opinion, acts of, love language.
Yeah. Yeah. Physical touch. I think,
Yeah.
and I think that is probably, in my opinion, it should be
Unless I'm mad, I'll sneak out sometimes and not do it, and he notices it.
right. But I think physical touch, that should probably be on everybody's list if you with somebody. If you are, in a relationship, marriage, whatever, because who wants to go and be with somebody for years and not be touched?
And I will also
That's crazy
say,
to me.
a lot of people will, I mean, some people might think it's inappropriate to say, but we married and we all grown in this podcast, right? So I think that we also, I mean, you can't talk about physical touch without speaking on the obvious, which is sex.
Right. That's the
I
element.
also think that I also know that there is a need in the relationship for sex.
Absolutely.
And I think that in maturity, I've learned that sex should not be used as a weapon.
Thank you, Jesus.
So, in maturity, I've learned that that's not what the Bible means. That when you get mad, you don't give it up.
Right.
And I've learned that it's not just the need for my husband; it's a need for me.
Right.
Because I mean, if we just keeping it real, I probably anyway. Go ahead.
Well, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but biblically speaking, you're not supposed to withhold.
No, but
There, there, there,
you
there.
work it to your
Right,
advantage when
right.
you're
There,
immature.
there is one stipulation biblically, if we're going to say that. There's one stipulation biblically where you should not, and that is if your wife or your husband or you both are given in an occasion of fasting. If you're not fasting, the Bible says your body does not belong to you. It belongs to your spouse and vice versa. But in our humanistic side and in our flesh and in our feelings, that's where, you know what, you done made me mad. So I'm not even getting
And you know
ready.
what's so
I ain't getting ready to do
crazy?
it.
And this is probably it's us unfiltered, so it's TMI, whatever. But what's so crazy is I can remember being, and that's one of the things that I had to work through, and we've talked about that in my
Mhm.
previous marriage. I used to be get mad and I would withhold sex. And that I was wrong. Regardless of what was going on, I was wrong because I was mad and you hurt my feelings, then, whatever. But what I will say is when you really have a healthy environment and you really do the work to know your partner and do the work to understand their needs and do the work to really understand your own needs, then I think that you see things differently
Mhm.
when it comes to the needs of your significant other.
I could agree with that. I can agree with that, and I know I know this is gonna sound crazy when I say this, but I think for and correct me if I'm wrong, because 'cause you're a woman,
Okay.
but I think that for women, like, that sex is almost like a reset, because if it goes off and it ain't happened in a long, long time, things is getting ready to get real hairy in the house.
They can make it hectic.
They get ready to get real hairy in the house, like, for real, for real. So, I believe that that's a reset, not just I'm saying for women, but I believe that it's a reset for men
I think
too.
it's a reset for both.
I think it's a reset. I think it's
And
a
speaking of
reset.
our relationship, I probably keep track more of how
You
often we do
absolutely
than
do.
you.
You
And
do.
I'd be like, sir?
You absolutely do.
And I know that it differs for every relationship.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I went into our marriage coveting, that was something I would never do, would be I would never deny you. How many times have I denied you since we've been married?
None. And vice versa. None. None
And so I
because
just think that it is immaturity in a healthy environment, in a healthy relationship where the foundation is truly love, connection, friendship, and God,
right.
sex doesn't become an issue.
And that's where I was gonna go, with my next statement. I said a reset, and I believe that it's a reset, but I also believe that it is a reconnection. I really honestly believe that the reason that God created that is for that specific reason. Now, let's if we being honest, of course, a lot of us was doing the most or just doing something when we were not married. But in that, we found ourselves battling a whole lot of extra feelings, emotions, and all of these different things that we probably would not have had to deal with had we not allowed ourselves to connect in that way and create that soul tie. Which is the reason, again, I say I believe that's the reason that God created it. When the two become one flesh and they consummate and they're knit together, and that thing really takes a hold like it's supposed to, it's a whole different level of, you know, this is my person, this is my wife, this is my husband. This is a part of what we do in order to keep our connection and our bond close. Now everybody ain't with that mind frame. You got some folks out there they not gonna honor that. They're gonna do something and then they're gonna go outside. There are people that do that. But those that understand it for real, this is something that they do to keep that connection and to keep that vibe and that bond tight knit between them. And so, yeah, it's something else. Sex is a powerful weapon. It's a powerful weapon.
I would say it's a tool, a powerful tool.
It is a powerful tool. And oh, it was something that we was talking about the other day. It'll come back to me because it came in my mind real quick, and then I started talking and it went away.
I see you got some comments over
We
here.
got some comments. We got some comments. So we were talking about sex, and I had mentioned the fasting. Cameo says, and even then you hurry and get back to it because the temptation will sneak in. And that's a great point, especially when, and I know this is going to sound crazy, when you are in an occasion where you and your spouse or your person or whatever y'all do. I'm speaking from the spouse standpoint. When you guys are in, having issues, a lot of people don't want to do that, especially during having issues, because it takes something emotionally, to
Yeah.
connect.
But I think even in those times when you don't feel like doing it, the important part there is communicating why you don't.
Communicate. Don't let the enemy get a foothold.
Communicating why you don't,
Yeah,
not just I'm not feeling you or I'm mad I mean, even if it's you mad, just communicating why you don't want to have sex. I think is very important.
Steve says, "Okay, this ain't his topic, but this is a great topic."
And the topic really is love languages, y'all. So chime on in. But if y'all wanna,
Yeah,
have
so
something to say about sex, that's great too.
yeah, so we are. But it all points to love languages. And so Denise, she asked the question, "What's the topic?" And so the topic for today, for those that are coming on now, is love languages, making it real. And so with that, I wanna go to this because this is something that we I don't want to get on a tangent. Um,
And thank y'all so much. We have had so many questions come into our inbox as well as comments about the podcast and things that people want us to discuss or questions they want us to pose. And so we have a couple we're gonna jump into.
yes, but I want to get here. So we've talked about and been talking about love languages and how important they are and how good they may feel and all of the different things. But I want to go into this portion of it. What happens when love languages collide, when they clash, when they don't line up, in terms of the relationship between the two people. And so I'll say this: when love languages clash, partners often feel unloved, unappreciated, or misunderstood, despite both parties making efforts to show affection. This misalignment causes love to get lost in translation, leading to emotional distance, resentment, and a quiet loneliness.
I agree with that because without any of the things that I just said I needed from you, if you never did any of those things, I would not feel truly loved. You could tell me you loved me, but I would feel like you're not showing me.
Right,
Or I would walk away feeling like, well, what's wrong with me? What is it about me that he doesn't like? Or why is he not touching me? Or why is he not talking to me in depth? Or why is he not complimenting me? Or why he didn't notice that I got on lip liner today
right,
and you don't like it. You like the red one, wear the red one, not the brown one. I mean, just little things. That's an example.
right,
But why didn't he not notice that I had on a new scent?
right.
Or why did he not notice I came to bed in a gown for a whole week? And that's not normal.
That's true.
I mean, those are things that I think people say it doesn't matter, but in reality, it matters. When you make something your norm and you stop doing that norm, it matters.
I agree with that.
It matters, and it brings attention to default in something negative. We never think, "Oh, they stopped doing it because it's a positive." Our mind tricks us to believe there's always something wrong,
Right.
and there could be reasons behind why. I mean, let's just talk about it. For middle-aged people, it could be maybe they got menopause going on while they're opting out of sex. Maybe there's an issue down there going on. Maybe for men, there's some dysfunction going on. I mean, there are things that I think people just don't talk about, and they don't talk about it because they're embarrassed, and they're embarrassed because they don't have the foundation they need to truly be able to communicate because the friendship part is lacking.
Right.
And then we go down this whole road to we ain't having sex, he must be having it with somebody else. Or she don't want me,
That's a
she
good
must be
point.
having it with somebody else when all it took was a conversation.
Which is vitally important. Just converse, converse, converse. Talk, talk, talk. I mean, I don't want to say that it's easy for everybody or it should be because it wasn't easy for me, if I'm being honest. It wasn't easy for me in the beginning. We've talked about this before. And it's just something that I had to learn, that I had to develop, that I had to allow myself to get comfortable with doing. And so even with that, you mentioned the different health things, that can go on with women and with men, and especially with men. Men do not want to talk about those types of things.
We need to have that at the top.
And we will, but they don't want to talk about,
Midlife crisis, men versus
midlife,
women.
right. I call it menopause. That's what I call it. They don't want to talk about them getting older and lowering, the testosterone dropping, and different things like that. And so, you done peaked out at 20, and you know what I mean, 20 in your 30s, and you're not doing what you used to do, and the different things, even the ED portion of different things that men don't like to talk about, but it is a true and
It's a
real
thing.
thing that happens to men, over time. And so the communication has to be there. And it doesn't matter if you're 20 or if you're 60. You gotta talk. You gotta talk. You gotta be able to express it. You gotta be able to be honest
Yeah.
with your partner and whatever it is that you got
What
going
was that
on.
question?
Which question? Oh,
You had a question from our inbox.
okay. So you say, we say. We're going to this question. She kind of threw me for a curve. I wasn't expecting that to come
Well, I
like
thought
that.
that's what you
I
were
thought we
scrolling
was
in
going
your
I
phone.
thought we was gonna segue, but it's all right. You caught me off guard, but we good. It's live. So anyway, this particular segment or portion, um, we're kind of going into, and we'll talk about this for a little bit. So this is what was sent to us via our inbox, and of course, everybody remains anonymous. We're not telling y'all who's saying what. So it says, "Hello, I'm in a relationship and we have talked about marriage." And this is actually coming from our last podcast. So I want to make sure that I preface that. "I have triggers from previous relationships and being cheated on. A trigger I'm dealing with from a previous relationship where we talked about marriage, but it didn't happen, was that I felt strung along. Do you think it's good for your partner to have friends of the opposite sex that they keep in contact with, or people from previous relationships that your partner is still in communication with?"
Leave it there.
That's the
So,
question.
first and foremost, we have to work on our triggers. So I will say that part. We have to work on our triggers. Um, Working through our triggers can be difficult, but we have to work through our triggers and we have to realize that this person's not the last person. And you have to show grace in that area that, this is not the person that cheated on you. This is somebody new. And I think that
Mhm.
the marriage conversation, given our age, marriage conversation does come up probably quite often in more mature relationships because we're getting older, and so we kind of get to that level of heightened level of a relationship, I guess, so to speak, a little bit faster. Just because it didn't happen the first time don't mean it won't happen the second time. So
True.
that's two triggers. But the third one is a trigger, because I think the third part of that was what we think about talking to your new significant other.
If
What do you
about
think about your significant other being in contact with their exes?
right.
So for me, I feel like if Norris has a previous significant other that he's going to have a relationship with, we all gonna have a relationship.
That's true.
If we all can't have a relationship and talk and he and ha ha, then he ain't gonna have one. So that's me, because they are an ex for a reason and I am the current. Now don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people who have exes, they are remarried and everybody is one big family. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great that they're able to communicate in that area, but if it makes you uncomfortable and that person is still maintaining a relationship that makes you uncomfortable, then that to me is a red flag. Now, that's my opinion. Like I said, I believe if it makes you uncomfortable and you verbalize that and they are adamant about having a relationship with that person, then we should all have a relationship with that person. So, what I would do, if this is someone that you really want to be with, I would tell you, invite that person over. Let's all be friends.
Right.
And I say that sarcastically, but I mean it. Let's all be friends. If it means that much to him, then we all should be friends. Because if it means that much to him, you are his current, that's his ex. Y'all both clearly mean something to him, then let's all be friends and we can live happily ever after. Because it doesn't necessarily mean he's doing anything wrong. I
Right.
don't know these people. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily doing anything wrong. And if he's not, he should have no everybody should be comfortable.
I can agree with that.
Everybody should be comfortable being friends.
I can agree with that. I think for me, my stance would be if we were in a relationship, or I'll speak with us. If you and I are in a relationship and there's a significant, or a person that you used to deal with or whatever from back in the day or whatever that you're friends with and everything else, and it makes me feel uncomfortable and you're adamant, my question is going to be immediately, what is it about them that makes you want to still stay like that? You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? I wanna know what it is about them,
Because just
and
because
be honest with me.
well, and I wanna say this, just because they're no longer together doesn't mean it had to be a messy breakup and a knockout, drag out, whatever. There is
Right.
a potential. Some people just say, "This here romantic thing is not gonna
It's
work,
just
but
not,
we'll be
but we
forever be
cool.
friends
Yeah.
and be cool." And that is the way to go if at all possible. There's nothing wrong with that, but I am of the belief that if special and boundaries have to be kept. So
Right.
there's a lot that would go along with that for me, because then for me, you talking about bringing somebody in that potentially you've had sex with, and you know a whole
All the
lot go all the
things.
things. And so if that person is adamant about staying in communication and being friends with an ex, then we need to have in place some boundaries. We need to have some real conversations. And for me, the real conversation is going to tell me what I need to do.
I can agree with that. And I from my standpoint on it, and we got some comments that I'm going to go to, but my standpoint on it is this. And
Okay,
uh
Mio, I see your comment,
yeah,
unless y'all are parents.
yeah,
But even as parents, because I have 3 children with my ex husband, and we talk when necessary, but we don't overly communicate. And that, I mean, it's a lot better because we communicate even less because we have adult children now. But when they were little, we had to text and we had to go back and forth. But there was never a question. If I text him now, Norris doesn't have a question about why I'm texting him because he knows it has to do with one of the kids.
right. The boundary was in place in
So,
that regard.
yes, so there's boundaries. And his wife, she doesn't have to worry about me being inappropriate or whatever, because she know if it's about my kids, I'll call her. I mean, really, I will. I don't have to,
Right.
and I haven't had to because, their dad is very responsive when it comes to them, but I think you have to have anytime you question something, it's time for a conversation. And when you feel like you can't have the conversation or you're made to believe you're crazy for wanting to have the conversation, it's a red flag. So I think there's a lot to unpack there, but it's gonna start with communication, boundaries, and, you know,
So
everybody get to know everybody, girl.
And so
Mhm.
even with that, now this person a little bit, because I didn't read all of it, which I didn't have to, but there was a portion in it where the person said that the person that that they're with now, the person that they're with now says that basically they are, how do I want to put this? They are not healed, and because they're not healed, then that's what is bringing
And some of it, I just
this on.
I don't know if it's not healed.
Well, this person said not
There's a
healed.
difference between not being healed and having a trigger.
Right,
You can be healed and have a trigger. People live their entire lives with trauma. That doesn't mean that they haven't worked on the trauma, but some traumatic situations will just always be a part of who you are, and
right,
we can't erase what we've gone through.
right.
So the mere fact that the deflection is you not unhealed versus, "Baby, how can I make you more comfortable?" That gives me pause.
I know for me, I have exes that I'm cool with. Um, my ex-wife, me, Lisa, and her are actually cool. We're cool. They've conversed. When I was at church, and they see them, they over there in the corner talking and kikiing and everything else.
Because the bottom line was you and her were done.
Right.
You were okay with that, she was okay with that.
Right. And that's the thing.
And I have no beef with that woman. She has no beef with me.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's the mature thing.
But the flip side for me is that my thing is what are we talking for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking for? I mean, I understand that you're cool, and let's just be honest. In Wichita, you dated somebody, you're with whoever it is that you're with now. 9.5 times out of 10, you've seen them out wherever you are. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that you're not cool with that person. Truth be told, I'm probably not gonna say much of anything at all, just because I don't want there to be anything misconstrued. Yeah, we cool. And the last time that I talked to you before I got into this relationship, that was solidified. We are cool. But I'm in this relationship now. I'm not getting ready to give no kind of place to nothing.
But this goes it all, in my opinion, it still goes back to boundaries, respect, and trusting your mate. When you have issues with boundaries, when you have issues with respect, and you have issues with trust, it's hard to hear from that person.
True.
And so what I will say is there has to be an environment. A healthy
That's
environment has to
it.
be created. The foundation has to be healthy. And the mere fact that this individual feels like they're not being heard, because that's what I hear in
Mhm.
all the verbiage is, I'm not being heard. I'm being made to feel like I'm insecure or I'm unhealed. What
You
I'm
read
not
my
hearing you
mind.
saying is this person loves me, they are supportive of me, they listen to me, they share my same concerns. See, because at almost 50, that's what I need to hear from my mate when I have a concern. And so I know that it sounds like marriage is the goal or the desire, but here I think we need to take a look at what does this foundation look like?
And that's where it
What does
starts.
this foundation look like? Because even as my friend, you never I didn't hear, and I'm not gonna say this person never, but I hear more of pointing the finger and the blame than help me try to understand where you're coming from.
Right.
And at this phase of life, it needs to be of utmost importance to let me try to understand where you're coming from.
And you can't, being the person that is on the other side, you can't dictate to a person when they should or should not be healed.
And that's the other
You
thing.
you
Don't
can't
use
do that.
my trauma and my hurt to beat me over the head with all the time.
So right there, what that shows me, and this is just going off of my own life and my own experiences. When I can say to you, the reason that you're acting like this is because you're not healed yet, and you need to do better, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. That there's some what am I not doing?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what that's gonna make me say to myself. Well, what am I not doing? I understand that you're not healed, or you're going through whatever you're going through, and it's taking some time for you to get to this place. But what can I do to help you? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to make you feel as though because you feel like, these things are going on, that I'm not listening, that I'm not empathetic or whatever it is that you're going through, and I'm not here for you. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you do all those things. It's not guaranteed that it's going to be reciprocated, but you make the environment conducive for it. Then, if that thing doesn't work and this person is still doing whatever they're doing or whatever, now you got some legs to stand on.
It's funny because while you were talking, it made me look at you in the sense of, this is how I know that I'm loved. This is why I know that you love me, because another way you show me you love me is you always make me feel heard. You always validate how I feel. You might not agree, but you will validate it because that's the way I feel.
Right.
And so I think that you make me safe. That's where I was going with that. We talk a lot about safety and the need for being safe with, for women, the need for be and even for men, because men want their emotions and how they feel to be safeguarded, but I think that when we are talking this situation has made me reflect on this person don't she this person doesn't feel safe.
Right. I can agree with
They
that.
don't emotionally feel safe, and when you don't emotionally feel safe, sweetheart, you need to seriously pray and do some thinking about if this is the
Consider it. You
relationship
got to
for you.
consider it because a man for real, and it doesn't matter the age, if he really, really wants to be with you, small things like that won't even
That should have been
matter.
a quick fix.
That won't
And
even
that's this
matter.
is our opinion. We're
Our
not in
opinion.
any
Our
ways
opinion.
telling you what you should do, but we are telling you from experience what red flags look like. Now, whether or not you gonna waive it
Yeah.
is truly up to you. Did you have another question?
I don't
Or are
have
you going to the
Yeah,
comments?
Imma go to the comments. So, while we're talking about this, Denise Daniel says, "Any outside relationships that make your partner feel uncomfortable is a no. Also, stop throwing up marriage if you don't have any intentions on getting married, especially at this age. Dating later in life is different. Don't string
Yes, it
people
is very
along."
different because the reality is we know that we are on the second part
Yeah,
of
we're on the
living.
second half of our life
And
once you
and
hit
we
50.
and you don't know what that's gonna look like, and a lot of us don't want to be by ourselves in our latter years, and a lot of us, want to be with someone who's gonna enrich our latter years.
Right,
We are in this empty nesters, era of life, and we did our sacrificing, and now we can go and
right.
live and do some of the things we wanna do, so I agree, Denise, Denise said, "Poop," I say, "Shit," and get off the pot. I
Yeah.
said it for you,
I
cousin.
was gonna say crap. Cameo says that the devil is super slick, and all he needs is a cracked door or a window. And in terms of when you're trying to build a relationship with the person, and the topic of marriage has been put on the table, a few times, that's all it takes is a small crack. And unfortunately, let's be honest, and I'm not saying that this is the case. This is what it is in this case, but there are some people who hold on to exes that are still friends and they be cool or whatever, but that doesn't mean that the ex has the same type of motive as the person that's holding on to them. Sometimes people will circle. Hey, we see it a lot. People like to circle. They like to circle the block because, hey, I was in this over here and it didn't really work out. Yeah,
Let me keep my options
this
open.
person might be in a relationship, but we still talking, we still cool. And especially if they are the type of friends that can have conversations where they talk about, you know, the person's significant other to each other.
Nah.
When you got that kind of stuff going on, and it's hard to tell because you're not listening to a person's conversation 24/7. But one thing I do know is when inappropriate conversation develops, there's always some type of an action that's going to precede it that's going to let you know that inappropriate conversation is being had. You'll know then for sure what you need to do.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yep. And I also,
I approve that
what
message.
was Cameo's comment? Cameo said, "All the devil needs is a small door."
Yeah, a crack door or window.
That is so true. And that I don't know if he said that during this part or when we were talking about, the sex
It was this
part,
part.
but
It was this
even in
part.
the sex part,
That's true.
even in the love part, even in the touch part, even in the gift part, whatever your relationship is lacking, the enemy will bring somebody else to provide. So you have got to be careful.
You got to be careful. You got to keep your eyes open. And
You have to have the heart and desire to want your spouse and your mate to be happy by any means necessary, because sometimes that means at certain points, at certain times, that means sacrificing a, a sacrifice from yourself. That means you got to sacrifice a little bit because at this time, Norris needs me more. And so I've got to give him myself. It ain't now we at 1090.
right.
I need to give the 90 because all you got is 10, and vice versa. You got to be able to meet
Yeah.
that need. What else?
And there's always going to be some instances where it's not going to be 100. I don't say 50-50. I
Mhm.
say 100 because I believe that you both should be trying to give 100% of yourselves when you're trying to do that. And
But when you know
sometimes,
your mate
yeah.
is not at their best, sometimes you have to supplement for them.
Cameo says that's why men and women need to listen and take heed because men and women know women. We can spot it a mile away. Both sides need to listen because God is using each other to protect each other. And I would agree with that wholeheartedly. At the end of the day, just, I think to cap off this question, what I would say is that if you are trying to have the conversations and the person is not, for lack of a better term, compliant
Mm.
and open to having those conversations without blaming or pointing or this is your hurt and you're doing this because this is what's going on with you, and it's not going on with me. This is you, this is you, this is you,
Deflection.
this is you.
Oh yeah,
If
deflection
you're
is
dealing
real.
with a person like that, then my own opinion is that you probably really need to look at and really internally think about what life may be like if you did decide to go ahead and be with this person or marry this person and these types of things have not been handled.
And I also say, think about what you desire and what you deserve.
That's true. I'm gonna say this, and I think this will probably be maybe our last comment unless somebody else comes up with something. Denise Daniel says that's why it's so important to try not to give your all so fast while dating. Keep something close to your heart until you feel safe, secure, and heard. And that, I think
Yes.
that right there
That
is,
was you hit it all up in
yeah,
one.
that will be our ending point. You hit the nail on the head, and
Hold
that
on.
goes
But I do
for
have
both
one thing I
sides.
want to say to
Go ahead.
this person.
Go ahead.
Even in all this, search your heart.
Search your heart.
Even in all this, search your heart and know that all is not lost. Think about what your worth is to yourself. Think about what you desire. Think about what you deserve. And sometimes once we do that collection of thought, then our decision has already been made for us.
Right.
And we have to be comfortable in the decision and the choice that we decide to make. And so take all of this, think about it, pray about it, but just know that you have an opportunity to grow. You have an opportunity to decide, and you have an opportunity to either stay or walk away. Whichever's
Yeah.
gonna make you the happiest, maybe not in the moment, but in the long run. Think about what you deserve. Think about what your happiness will look like. And I think you'll come up with the best decision for you for the long run.
Fantasia said it like this: sometimes you have to lose to win again. And sometimes that means you have to do the thing that
The
will
hard stuff.
it will hurt your heart for the moment as opposed to your heart being hurt for a lifetime. Those are the things that you have to consider. With that being said, Denise said it best, trust God. He always provides an
Don't
out.
forget, y'all support Miss Pam, Pamela Porter. Smile Through It All. Great book. Great read.
Great read. And we want to thank everybody. We
Check out the
so
Hey Friend podcast too.
yes,
Thursday
that's right.
nights at 8:30, I believe.
I thought it was 7:45. I don't know.
No, 8:30 we get off. So it's
I think it's,
y'all go look up Hey Friend.
yeah, hey
We'll we'll,
friend.
we'll tag it
And
in the
yeah, and it
comments.
doesn't say
But
friend with a
check that
D.
podcast out. That is our brother Steve. He has a podcast that's on Thursday night without further ado, our next podcast will be the second Sunday in May, which
We're already in
is
May. That fast.
yeah,
This week, I
which is
think.
going to be May 10th. We
Yeah,
will see
this
you
week.
then. Look out for recaps. Y'all like, share, and invite somebody on.
Yeah, like, share.
Get this out here circling. We on all the platforms. We on all the platforms.
When we're on, tag people that you think might, benefit from this information and let them get in on the conversation. Again, we want to talk to everybody. We don't want to, we're thankful for those that come on a regular and they comment and do different
But
things.
we want to grow.
But we want to grow and we want other people's opinions. We want to hear what you have to say and we want to dialogue with you. So again, thank you guys. Another episode of the His Voice, Her Vibe podcast. Again, I am your co-host. I done hit myself in the face. I am your co-host, Doris Henderson.
And I am Lisa Henderson.
And you guys have a great, 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 great week. We
Be
appreciate
blessed and
y'all.
thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody.